Hello students, I am Dr. M. Bhushanam, Assistant Professor in Maharani's Science College for Women, Bengaluru. Hope you're all doing well during this pandemic time. Take care of your good health, students. Today, we are going to learn a topic under paper 2 non-cardata 2, that is 3.2, that includes morphology of Asterias or sea star. The objective of present session is to understand the morphology of Asterias or sea star or starfish. Morphology is the term which is used to study the external features of or externals of the organism of sea star. Students, remember, sea star is the type study animal under the phylum Echinodermata. So content includes the study of morphology related to sea star. Well, Asterias is commonly called as starfish or sea star. The term starfish is now abandoned. We shouldn't use further in scientific usage. Instead, we can make use of the term sea star. When we look at the morphological study, it is related to the external appearance of the organism related to sea star. So first we will start with the concept of habit and habitat of Asterias. Habit refers to the place where it lives. Habitat is the dwelling place. So the external appearance and the place where it lives together we are going to understand now. We know that echinoderms are invertebrate organisms which are exclusively marine forms. So this is the only phylum that includes all organisms which are present in seawater. So it is said to be exclusively marine form. Hence, Asterias is also exclusively marine form. It is aquatic, lives in marine regions. Where does it live? In the marine region. So it lives in the bottom or benthonic regions. So down is the picture of oceanic zone. When you look at the the bottommost part is the benthic zone. So that is the region where these Asterias are commonly seen in the oceans. So hence it is called benthonic animal. It is generally seen amidst the rocky parts. The species of Asterias is generally solitary. Solitary is the term which is used for the organism when it lives alone or individually. So it lives as a single organism. Hence it is called solitary. It is nocturnal because its a movement or active movements are seen only during the night time. And it is carnivorous. So this is the organism which will feed on the organisms like polychaetes, crustaceans, mollusks, etc. So it is a carnivorous organism. The sea star generally exhibits a remarkable power of autotomy and regeneration. Autotomy is a condition wherein whenever there occurs the offending process, the organism tend to donate its arms to the enemies and it escapes out from that particular region. This is called autotomy, self-breakage. Regeneration of the last part, whatever the autotomic regions are seen, such regions are again regained back. So this is called power of regeneration. So power of autotomy, power of regeneration is a very remarkable process associated with the Asterias. Students, down are two pictures. One towards the left side is the starfish feeding on the minute fish varieties, indicating carnivorous nature of it. And right side is a picture that depicts the autotomy process. The next feature is shape. Because of the star shape of the body, it is commonly called a sea star. So, technically we make use of the term pentamerous body for the star-shaped body. So, star-shaped body can technically be called as, scientifically be called as pentamerous. Penta means 5. So, it has 5 radiating arms. So, it has a body which is radially symmetrical. The body consists of a central pentagonal disc. When you look at keenly the picture that is depicting here, the central pentagonal part is called a central disc. From each of the disc arises 5 elongated, radiating, tapering projections referred as arms or rays. So there are 5 arms or 5 rays attached to the central pentagonal disc. So this is the body shape of the organism of Asterias. The next feature is size and color. The size of the organism varies between 10 to 20 centimeters in diameter because they are radially symmetrical. The color is also variable. We find shades of yellow, orange, brown, purple, and varieties of colors we find of sea star. The weight of the organism, the highest weight is seen that 10 to 11 pounds of weight a sea star can weigh. So that bigger the sea stars are available in the sea waters. Now, this pentamerous body or star-shaped body has got 2 surfaces. The upper surface is slightly convex and it is darker. This region, which is seen facing upward, is called as aboral or abactinal surface. So, right towards the left side is the picture depicting the aboral wave of starfish, whereas the right side of the slide is the picture depicting sea star towards the oral surface where the mouth is seen. Now we will look into the body structure related to the oral surface. The oral wave of the body is generally said to be flat. It is less pigmented with a central part of the body called as mouth, and hence this region is called as oral surface or actinal surface. Students, remember, the oral and aboral surfaces of the body of starfish is not dorsal and ventral regions. Remember this. It corresponds to the right and left surfaces of the sides of bilateral symmetrical larvae. So, when the larvae forms the growth stage and develops into an adult, the right and left side will form the oral and aboral surfaces of the adult organism. So, this is for your extra information. Now, from each of the sides of pentamerous or pentagonal central disc, you find the 5 radiating arms. How are arms? Arms that joins with the central disc is said to be the basal part. The base of the arm is generally said to be thicker and wider. As it moves towards the end, it becomes tapery. So, arms shows a broader base and a narrowing tapery ends. Now, between two arms, there is a space which we call it as interradii space. So, you find 5 radiating arms. Between each arm, you find interradiating spaces. Well, students, after we understanding the size, shape, color, now we will look into the parts of the body related to oral surface as well as aboral surface. This is very important concept for your main exam. Generally, it is a repeated question for 10 marks. And if it is only one surface we have to explain, it will be as for 5 marks. Usually, externals of or morphological details of Asterias, when we look at it, is of a 10-mark question, a major question. So, it includes 2 parts to describe. First, we will look into the body at oral surface. The side of the body which remains towards this substratum is called oral surface. This oral surface of the body to its center of the central disc contains the opening of mouth or oral opening. This region of oral surface is generally flat and varies in color, which we call it as oral or actinal surface. So, what are all the parts that we can find of the body towards the oral surface? First one to start with is the mouth. So, at the oral surface, we find the opening of mouth at the center of the central disc. This opening or aperture is called as actinosome or mouth. It is a pentagonal aperture. Mean to say, it's an opening which shows 5 ridges or 5 angles. But here in the picture, it appears to be round, but originally it appears as a star, another star-shaped structure near the mouth region. So, it is an opening which is of pentagonal shape. It is surrounded by a very thin membrane for the protection. This membranous part is called as peristomial membrane or peristome. Peri means outside, stoma refers to opening. The opening of mouth, which is pentagonal in shape, is surrounded by a membrane called peristome. And this peristome is again guarded by 5 groups of oral spines or oral papillae. So they are nothing but special kind of spinous structures. If this structure is said to be the mouth, you find at 5 arm base, group of spines will cover it like this. So all 5 groups of spines will cover or guard the opening of the mouth. So those structures of spines are attached to the peristomial membrane. So how is mouth? It is pentagonal aperture surrounded by opening the membrane of peristome, and this peristome is attached to 5 groups by means of the spines called mouth papillae, which helps in guarding the opening of mouth. The second part is ambulacral grooves. Students, remember, from each angle of the mouth, which is pentagonal in shape, from each angle of the mouth there arises a groove, a narrow groove into the arms, into each of the arm, exactly at the middle portion. So this groove, which continues from mouth region into the arm, is called ambulacral grooves. So exactly here in the picture, you can find towards the left side the grooves referred as ambulacral grooves, and towards the right side you can find a white parallel ridge pattern which is seen as a groove structure, which we call it as ambulacral groove. So mouth will continue within the arm. The groove structure is called ambulacral groove. The next important part is tube feet or podia. Each ambulacral groove, when we look at, within each of the ambulacral groove, there arises 4 rows of tube-like structures. Very closely when you observe the picture towards the right side of the slide, the upper part, you can find minute tube-like outgrowths coming out from the ambulacral groove. Each of this tube is called as podia or tube feet. These structures are arranged in 4 rows. You find in each of the ambulacral groove, 2 towards one side, 2 towards the other side. So you find 4 rows of ambulacral tube feet or podia, and each of these podia involves in the process of locomotion, the process of food capturing, helps in respiration, and also acts as sensory organs. So what is the function of tube feet or podia? In case of the starfish, they serve 4 functions majorly. Number 1, locomotion. Number 2, food capturing. Number 3, respiration, assist in sensory function. So this is the importance of the tube feet or the podia. The structure of each of the tube feet, when you look at, you find bulb-like structures attaching to a central lane of a ring. How are the tube feet? They are nothing but soft, thin-walled, tube-like structures or tubular structures which are retractile, meaning to say they can have the expansion and they can even undergo contraction. So retractile in function, they can come out of the body and can get into the ambulacral groove system. These structures has got towards its terminal region the sucker. So each of the tube, when you look at, it has a bulbous ampulla. Down is a short tube called podium. The podium will end up with the end part of the tube feet called as tube foot called as sucker. So you can see the labeled diagram towards the right side of the upper picture of the slide. So ampulla, podium, sucker. The sucker's function is to help the organism to have the suction pressure created by the water and helps in the attachment. So for the firm attachment to the substratum, the suckers of the tube feet are helpful. And down towards the left side is the microscopic view of the podia or tube feet structures. The next important part of the oral surface is ambulacral spines. We know that from the mouth originates the groove into the arm called ambulacral groove. So we find 5 ambulacral grooves in each of the arm of the pentamerous arms of the starfish. Each ambulacral groove is bordered by, if this is the structure of the groove, at the border of the ambulacral groove, you find laterally arranged 2 to 3 rows of movable calcareous ambulacral spines. So if this is the groove, you have the spines attached to it in 2 to 3 rows. These are movable calcareous ambulacral spines. They help in closure to form the network of spines. Okay, and they guard the ambulacral groove and the system of content within. These ambulacral groove are arranged towards the lateral sides of the groove structure. So ambulacral groove towards its lateral sides, we find 2 to 3 rows of spines which are calcareous and movable, which helps in the guarding of the groove within. So near the mouth, these spines becomes larger, stouter, and forms 5 groups, and they become the oral papillae and helps in guarding the mouth. So you find ambulacral spines guarding the ambulacral groove, and at the mouth they become stouter, larger, and forms 5 groups and helps in the protection of the mouth opening to form mouth papilla. The next important parts that are related to the oral surface is sense organs. Students, remember, starfishes do not have a well-developed nervous system within, but they have sensory organs confined to certain parts of the body. It includes 5 unpaired terminal tentacles, which means to say each of the arm towards its tip has got tentacles, and 5 unpaired eye spots. So at the base of each of the tentacle region, we find the structure of eye spots. The tip of each arm bears small, median, non-retractile, mean to say they cannot contract and relax, and they have hollow projections at the terminal region called tentacles. They are the sensory organs for the touch as well as olfaction, that is smell. So they can feel by touching the objects by using this particular tentacles, hence it is tactile in function. They can even smell the prey. It is done by the same tentacle, hence the function is olfaction. So what's the function of tentacle? Tentacle helps in both the sensory organ of tactility and olfaction. Where are tentacles attached? at the tip of each of the arm. You can find cluster of hair-like structures attaching. So they are nothing but the tentacles as we find in the diagram down. And at the base of each of tentacle occurs bright red photosensitive eye spots which are made up of ocelli. So light sensitive eye spots are present which are reddish in color at the base of tentacles. So they are present beneath the tentacles. So we find at the tip of each of the arm 5 tentacles, so 5 unpaired tentacles are seen, and at the base of it we find red color eye spots which are photosensitive in function, and they are also 5 unpaired eye spots. So after we understanding the concept of oral surface that describes the body features of Asterias, now we shall look into aboral surface view of the Asterias, that is C star. We know that aboral surface of the body is slightly convex and the color of it is light orange to purplish in color, and this surface we call it as aboral surface or abactinal surface. This is the region where mouth is absent. So opposite to the oral surface is called aboral surface. So aboral surface of Asterias is demarked by another opening of the body which we call it as anus. Anus is a minute round aperture which is seen on the aboral surface of the center of central disc. When you look at the central disc to which the 5 arms gets attached, onto the aboral surface there is the round opening which we call it as the anus. So down in the picture you can find how the anus structure at the center of the central disc is seen. The second important structure that we find on the aboral surface of the body of C star is Madreporite. So we call it as porite because it is an opening. At the aboral surface on the central disc, nearer to the opening of the anus and between 2 arms of the body, any 2 arms of the body, there is a flat, almost subcircular, asymmetrical groove of plate structure is seen. So on the aboral surface, much nearer to the anus, between 2 arms on the central disc, you find a subcircular flat opening which appears to be a plate cover. This structure has got number of grooves within. It is like number of spaces within. So such grooved area is called Madreporite. Students, remember, this Madreporite is present between the bases of any 2 of 5 arms. So if there are 5 arms, between at the base of any 2 arms you can find this opening of Madreporite. It's a narrow, straight, wavy grooves with the pores within. So you can find the enlarged part of Madreporite which is marked in the center of the picture towards the right side. The white round structure which is enlarged under microscope is the Madreporite structure of the body of Asterias. The Madreporite structure is hence sieve-like porous plate which leads inside into a very hard canal called stone canal that is associated with the water vascular system. In days to come in future, we shall understand the concept of water vascular system in Asterias, where it has a part called stone canal. Students, remember, the sieve plate which is seen on the aboral surface with minute grooves within has got pores. The water gets filtered here and enters into the stone canal down. Are you able to understand? So, into the water vascular system. So, Madreporite acts as a part where the water gets filtered and enters into stone canal region of water vascular system. So, that's the importance of Madreporite structure here. And we also have understood that Madreporite is a subcircular flat opening of a plate that we find as groove structure seen between any base of any two arms of 5. So, if there are 5 arms, at the base of 5 any 2 arms you find the structure of Madreporite, and those 2 arms in between which Madreporite is present is called as bivium. Bi means 2. So, structure of the radiating arms, at the base of any 2 you find the structure of Madreporite, right? Those 2 arms at interradiating position where the Madreporite is seen, those 2 arms are called bivium. The rest 3 arms where the Madreporite is absent is called as trivium. When you look at the diagram down towards the left side, the first diagram, you have the structure of Madreporite represented there. So, those 2 adjacent arms are called bivium arms. Rest 3 which are seen towards the other side, the left side where the Madreporite is absent, is called trivium. I think the concept is clear. The next important feature that we find at the aboral surface is spines. We had seen the structure of ambulacral spines much towards oral surface, but on the aboral surface also the entire body of the Asterias is covered with innumerable number of short, thick, blunt, calcareous spines or tubercles which are vary in their size, shape, etc., and even their arrangement is very irregular. You know that Asterias is an example of Echinodermata. Echino means spine, derma means skin. So, spiny skinned organisms are echinoderms, where Asterias is also one of the example of it, a type study animal that we are studying. If so, its body is also made up of number of spines, which are also called as calcareous spines or tubercles. What is the arrangement and function of the spines? We know that on the upper surface, that is the aboral surface, we find spines which are very innumerable in number, blunt, thicker, attached down with the structures called as calcareous plates or ossicles, which are embedded within the skin of the organism. When you look at the body of Asterias, the body has got the echinoderm covering, the skin covering, which is spiny structure. Each of the spine at the base is attached to plate-like structures which are calcareous, that is very hard. They are called as ossicles. Where are these ossicles? They are buried in the integument, which acts as the endoskeleton. So we have plate-like ossicles made up of calcium carbonate, from each of which arises the spines. So spines are supported down by means of the calcareous plates of ossicles. Where are these ossicles? They are embedded within the skin of the organism, which acts as the endoskeleton of starfish. The next important part that we find on the aboral surface is papillae or gills. We know that the integument of Asterias consists of the endoskeleton made up of, or bony framework made up of, plate-like structures called ossicles. Between the ossicles of the integument, there are a large number of minute pores of the skin. If this is one ossicle and this is another ossicle, between these two ossicles there is an opening which we call it as pore. From this pore there arises minute projections outside. So when you look at the aboral surface, you find spines. In between these spines you find certain out projections. How are these projections? They are very small, very delicate, tube-like or conical shaped or finger-like structures or thread-like structures. They are thin-walled membranous structures, highly retractile projections. They are called as dermal branchiae or gills or papilla. Students, remember, the function of papillae or gills is to serve the function of gaseous exchange or the respiration. So down in the picture, the enlarged portion what we find towards the right side, you find spines represented, Madreporite represented, and in between there arises minute projections of gills. I think this picture gives the clarification. Towards the right side, when you look at, the enlarged portion shows Madreporite, sieve-like plate, and white structures, nothing but the spines. Between these spine structures on the body, you find minute projections. They are gills. The function of them is to serve the function of the respiration. The papillae are hollow evaginations, mean to say they are extensions of the body, projections on the body wall. They continue down with the coelom. What is their major function? Major function is respiration. Besides respiration, these papillae or gills also serves and assists in the phenomenon of excretion also. So that's about the importance of the papillae. The next important structures that we find on the aboral surface of sea star is Pedicellariae. Students, on the aboral surface, we find the structures of the spines, which are movable, and immovable spines are also seen, and between which there arises the structures of papillae that serves the function of respiration chiefly, and also excretion. Now, between these papillae and spines, there arises on the body minute fork-like structures. You can see much towards the left side the diagram down. So it appears like a fork structure. So minute microscopic structures they are. They are also spine-like projections. They are generally called as tiny pincers or jaws. Technically, scientifically, they are called as Pedicellariae. These structures are also present on the oral surface too. Each Pedicellariae structure, when we look at, it consists of a short or a long stalk flexible stalk, a stalk to support, down having no calcareous support outside. So it has a stalk, that is all. And the stalk will continue above with the attachment of 3 calcareous or cecal plates. One plate is at the base, 2 plates are projected upward. So a basal plate will have attachment of 2 lateral arranged calcareous plates. So these plates, which are seen down a single plate, called as basal piece or basal plate structure, onto which attaches down a stalk and above 2 valves or jaws. These jaws are movable or articulating part of the Pedicellariae. The Pedicellariae hence is called forcipillate pedunculate structures. Forcipillate because they have 2 pointed projections. Pedunculate because they are attached Pedicellariae. We find 2 types of these Pedicellariae based on the arrangement of valves or jaws. They are straight type, second one is cross type. We have 3 diagrams representing down. The first A diagram indicates the presence of a dermal spine with the structures of papillae and minute microscopic pincer structures referred as the Pedicellariae. So the B diagram, when you look at, it has got a basal plate attached with the straight type of jaws. Whereas C diagram, when you look at, you find a cross type of arrangement of jaws. So the type of valves that attaches to the basal plate will give the structure of Pedicellariae, whether it is of straight type or crossed type. Whether it is straight or crossed type, both serve the function of cleaning the skin. So straight type pedunculate Pedicellariae, when you look at, it has got 2 jaws attaching to a basal blade or plate, and all these structures are arranged down with the adductor muscles. There are 2 pairs of adductor muscles to close the jaws and a pair of adductor muscles to open the jaws. So altogether 3 adductor muscles are seen, 3 pairs, sorry. 2 pairs to close, 1 pair to open in case of straight type. In case of crossed type pedunculate Pedicellariae, the basal plate is attached to the 2 mandibulator valves and they are cross arranged. In this type, we find 2 pairs of adductor muscles to close and to open. 1 pair of adductor muscles are attaching down, like that of the first type. The overall function of Pedicellariae is to clean the skin. Students, remember, there are Pedicellariae which doesn't have a stalk. They are called sessile Pedicellariae. Such Pedicellariae are present on C-star body. They function overall in defensive and offensive function. So they act as the organs of defense and offense. They also help in protection of the gills on the body surface. They keep the body free from that of the attachment of debris particles and attachment of organisms like sponges or coelenterate, which will require a substratum to attach. So it cleans up all these structures. Down is the picture you can see bivalvate structures attaching, which are minute yellow color structures attaching to the body down in the picture. So with this we are completing the externals or morphology related to Asterias, both on oral surface as well as aboral surface. Students, after we understanding the morphology of sea star, now we shall try to answer the MCQs related to it. Question 1. Starfishes are, what type of feeding they have? Carnivorous feeding. So answer B is correct. In sea stars, Madreporite is the opening of which particular system down? It is water vascular system. Answer is B. The skin gills, that is papillae, in starfish play a role in, what's the function of skin gills? They help in respiration and excretion. So answer is D. The endoskeleton in Asterias is made up of calcareous plates, okay, which form the endoskeleton. So answer is A. Pedicellariae are modified spines present on the body of Asterias. So answer is C. They are spinous modifications of spines. Sieve-like plate present on the aboral surface of sea star is nothing but Madreporite. So answer is B. In some species of Echinoderms, that is sea star, has pincer-like structures attaching. What do you call them as? They are nothing but Pedicellariae. So answer is A. Question 8. A series of ossicles that runs the length of oral surface of the arm is called what? So all through the arm there is a groove attaching towards the lateral side is a plate structure. So it is ambulacral groove. Answer is C. Middle part of the central disc is composed of the opening of mouth. So answer is A, oral opening. The locomotory organs in echinoderms are called tube feet. So answer is C. Well students, we have come to the end of the session. What have we understood here? We have understood the morphology related to Asterias. Students, the web references includes Wikipedia and Britannica.com, and book references includes Invertebrate Zoology by P.S. Verma and Modern Textbook of Zoology by Kotpal. Thank you all. Your queries and comments are can be posted to my personal WhatsApp number, or even you can give me a call for the clarification of your doubts. Take care of your good health during this pandemic, students.